There is a lot of writing advice floating around on the internet. A lot of do's and don'ts for creating compelling stories with three-dimensional characters and interesting prose. And, you know, look, a lot of it is good. A lot of it genuinely is useful, but the majority of it, I think, in my experience, is unnecessary and kind of toxic. The thing is that if you listen to too many of these online writing gurus, it's easy to allow writing to be stripped of all its passion and pleasure, which is what makes it fun and good in the first place. But it doesn't have to be that way. And what I've learned is that if you really want to be a great writer, there's only a few pieces of advice that you really need to take to heart. In fact, I've narrowed down everything I've learned in my years of experience with writing down to just 10 points. And I truly believe that if you follow these 10 steps, you can be as great a writer as Herman Melville or Edgar Allan Poe or the Beowulf poet without having to follow any of these online writing courses or pay for an MFA or any of that crap. Of course, there are thousands of videos on YouTube offering to do for you exactly the same thing that I'm offering right now, and there's really no reason to think that this video is any different, especially if you're clicking on my channel for the first time. But maybe you trust me a little bit more because I'm self-aware of that fact, and I drew attention to the fact that you have no reason to trust me. Hi, am I clever? Please like this video. Anyway, my name is and if you are a writer, then you have come to the right place. If you're not a writer, though, get out of here. Right now, I'm not kidding. You are not welcome here. Get out. It's for your own good. Get out! Okay, now that it's only the cool kids left, let's get started. My first piece of advice that I'm sure everybody has heard before, but which is nonetheless so important that I have to start with mentioning it, is that writing is a habit. If you don't write every day, your writing muscles are going to atrophy, and the longer you go without writing, the harder it's going to be to get back into it. So I know this is a cliche, but I really just need to hammer this into your skull that if you don't write every day, you're gonna have some problems. What I recommend is finding a nice, quiet place at a certain time of day where you can just be by yourself and focus. Some writers have a certain word count that they try to reach every day, and some writers just try to focus for a specific amount of time. But whatever you do, the thing that's most important is the consistency and the concentration. Make sure people know that when you're having writing time, you can't be disturbed for any reason whatsoever. This is your time to work on your project, and if you don't learn to set some boundaries with the other people in your life, if you can't get your loved ones to respect you, then you're never gonna find success and you're never gonna finish your book. Which leads me on to point 2. Kill your darlings. Now, I know this is another thing that most people have heard before, but I really can't stress enough how important this is. When you're writing, it's so easy to lose sight of the target, and your darlings are just one more thing that's gonna hold your book back from being as good as it can possibly be. Kill them. Kill those darlings, even though it's hard, and I know it's hard. Most writers don't want to hear this, but I promise you, if you just bite the bullet and do the right thing, your book is going to be so much better than you could ever dream of it being otherwise. Now, as for how to kill your darlings, there are, of course, a number of ways to go about this. Poison is a good one since it doesn't leave a mess, and I am a fan of strangulation as well. But if you can get away with it, I really think the best thing to do is to just use a good old-fashioned axe, because everybody has one and there's no reason to make things too complicated. Oh, and don't get rid of the body right away because you will need it for one of these later steps. Now, this third point is a little bit more vague, but it's equally as important, so I really recommend you take notes on this. There might be a quiz later. Listen to your inner voice. Now, what does that mean? Maybe you've never heard your inner voice. Maybe you don't believe you even have an inner voice. Well, you do. Everyone does, even if they don't know it. Some people have only one voice, some people have many voices, but they're there, and all you have to do to find them is listen to them. What I recommend is when you're in your quiet place, before you start writing, just take a moment to sit and listen. Listen for the voices. Maybe you won't hear them at first, maybe you won't hear them at all during this session, but just listen. And if you pay close attention, you should start to feel a tickling on the inside of your eardrums. Pay attention to the shape of the lips against the sides of your ear. Pay attention to the breath on the side of your face. The voices are always there with you, and most of the time you can't hear them. but now you can. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to how good that feels. Close your eyes. If you listen, you'll hear them. You'll feel them. Sometimes you'll even see them. Listen. Now on to point 4. Once you start to listen to the voices, usually they'll ask you to make a deal. Tell them, and this is very important, tell them, "Oh, patron of the arts and of madness, I would have you make me the greatest writer who has ever lived." They'll list out their terms. This could take a long time, but be sure to listen carefully to every one. And when they mention the part about killing your darlings, tell them you've already done that. In my experience, this is the best way to get the voices to do what you want. They'll be impressed. They'll be very, very impressed. Let the voices take control. Let their syllables flow out of you into your word processor. Your part in this story is almost over. You've done all you can do, and now the voices are in control. And when after hours and hours of painful typing, your eyes are bleary and your bones are weak and your fingers are bleeding over the keyboard, just when you begin to find yourself hating that idiotic, young, hope-filled version of yourself who forced you to sell away your very soul, your body, your loved ones, all for the sake of an indistinct dream you can never remember not having, a dream you would once have done anything for, but which now seems to you as vapid and meaningless as a short-lived plume of mist rarefying as you watch into a void of ordinary air. When after all that, you look at your computer and see what the voices have written and know that it is good, then, and only then, will you know what it is like to have written a masterpiece. Enjoy your success. The deal is sealed now, the work is completed. The only thing left to do is wait. Remember now an old play you were forced to read in high school, a play about a man named Faustus who found himself in a similar situation to yourself. Recall it and wonder whether the author did not, in fact, know something that you didn't. Remember it and weep for the life that you could have lived if only you had listened. You want to destroy it. All of it, your life's work. You want to burn your laptop to the ground, and then you want to take your own life because your work was all you had, and if you lose that, then what do you have to live for? What do you have to keep you going, to give you purpose? But then you hear the voices again, and you remember that your side of the deal is not quite yet finished. Step 9. Make a video on the internet telling other people how they, too, can hear the voices and become the greatest writer who ever lived. All you have to do is listen. All you have to do is listen to I don't know why you're still here. I don't know what you want. I did my part of the deal. The deal is not complete. What do you mean it's not complete? I did everything you asked me to do. You lied. No. I did not lie. I did not lie. You've always wanted to achieve your dreams. And now you can. Anyone can. All you have to do is decide whether it's worth the cost. And I think that's not a very hard decision to make.